Hello, everyone. We are live for the first Footsore video conference. Hopefully, we'll start seeing people stream in, literally, to listen to what we have to say today. We've had a lot of questions in the different groups, both the Mortal Gods group and the regular Footsore hobby group, as well as other questions that have been sent to us via private messages. So the purpose of this is to be a venue for people to ask us questions and get live responses. So today we have Mark Farr and Andy Hobdy.
Oh,
there. Hello. How are you guys doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, all good. It's Friday evening, so another week put to bed, which is excellent.
Yeah.
I'm just admiring your helmets, Mark, to be honest.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, we do like those, don't we? I can't see if I can get more.
No, that one. I have real helmet envy.
Helmet envy.
No, those are good.
Yeah,
I do like those helmets.
Yeah. So for the transatlantic friend who may have translation issues, that's the medieval or dark age helmets that you wear over your head.
Oh, okay. Not when you go to your football matches.
That's it. Yeah,
or just generally shopping these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You'll notice the one on the end is not quite current because it hasn't got the visor doesn't come down low enough to cover your face.
Red Sox helmet. Oh goodness.
I think that's Johnny knows I like the Red Sox.
Oh, okay. Well, at least there's one of us.
Ooh, it's a bit early to start, Tim. Come on.
This could be a long session.
Could be a long session. Well, I guess should we just wait for other people to?
No, let's kick in. The good thing is it's recording as well, so if people can't catch it live, obviously because these days we're international, Footsore Facebook will record it and it will save it for later too, so people will get to see it all.
I'm very grateful for the people that have taken the time to join and listen to us, and thank you. We do appreciate it. This opportunity is for you guys, the community, to present us questions. If anything that you have that you're interested in knowing about, we're here to talk about it. We've taken a lot of questions, and I was really surprised that a lot of the questions right away was regarding Mortal Gods campaign. Now, do you want to talk about Mortal Gods in general? And what are the plans for Mortal Gods?
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, well, let's jump back a little bit and let's talk about Mythic first, because that's the next. So we've had Mortal Gods, which obviously we did a box set with, which we did in cooperation with Victrix, which was brilliant, and we've shipped bucket loads, and everybody's really enjoying the game. And then, of course, as with everything that you do, as soon as you've done something, it's not complete, and everybody wants to know what the next bit is. And the big question we were asked was, well, where's the mythic bit? Where's the monsters and all of that kind of stuff? So we had to think about how we were going to do that, and we spoke to Trish Cardan, who had recently left Games Workshop. So most of you will know Trish from back in the day, Marauder Miniatures and stuff, and as the Games Workshop monster maker, and eventually she was in Forge World, and she did some awesome stuff. And I've known her for years, since Marauder Miniatures, and I was like, Trish, now you're just twiddling your thumbs. Would you want to make me some monsters? And she said yes. So that allowed us then to start looking at monsters and stuff for Mythic, and then of course we wanted a universe where our monsters and heroes and that could actually work with Mortal Gods, so that Mortal Gods force wasn't just like, stomped into the ground by a Minotaur or a Cyclops or something like that turning up. So we spent loads of time working out how to make balance forces and stuff for the Mythic thing.
It's all we played for over 12 months, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, it's just it's just bonkers the stuff we've done. I just showing off my toy soldiers now. So we were working on stuff like Temple Guard and bits and pieces, and crazy centaurs and all sorts of stuff, but they had to work within the Mortal Gods realm as well. So it took us a while to get it together, and eventually we decided on 4 mythic forces to represent the what we consider the main gods. People will argue with us, I'm sure about that, but what we consider the main forces, and eventually got the mythic book together. So we've just started shipping the mythic Kickstarter because it was a bit of a beast to get organised with the factions, the miniatures, the cards, everything else. But it's done now, and we're shipping, and so it's only a small sales team, so we're sending out like bite-sized chunks every day, and we should finish shipping that by the end of August. Now, obviously, what's happened in the meantime is people have been talking about campaigns and bits and pieces as well, and we've been working on that, what works as a campaign. There are some scenarios and stuff in the book, but what we really wanted was proper campaign system. It's what people asked for, because obviously when you look at the history of Greece after the Persian invasion, there's lots of campaign stuff going on, and some brilliant stuff where the Spartans, following traditional sort of like scorched earth policy of marching into other people's territory, burning all of their crops, killing the population, dragging them off into slavery and leaving, the Athenians with their navy are inspired, just getting a ship, sail around behind them and do the same thing to Spartan held territory. So there's lots of really good stuff going on, and some classic ideas for campaigns in that. So we're trying to pull all that in together to a campaign book, and it's a work in progress that we're working on.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that even though we played it for about over 12 months, we finished playtesting it some time ago, because obviously you hand it over then for the sculpts to be made, the book to be printed, the cards to be created, all of that stuff. So we wanted to make sure that when we went to Kickstarter, or when Footsore went to Kickstarter, that the game was there or thereabouts. So it was done and finished at that point, so that when when it was successful, we could then take that and we had something tangible to take to be produced, hopefully with a successful Kickstarter. So we've had it for some time, and there's some stuff that didn't get in there. So, like for instance, is Cerberus. Everybody wants Cerberus, so we had to park it. We had to be quite disciplined about what we took and what we didn't take. Mm-hmm. So it's fair to say there's a chunk of stuff waiting in the wings for when we're ready.
Yeah.
And it depends on how well this does. Mythic, we think it's great. Mythical Land, it depends on how it's received, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
That's the fair way to look at it, I think. So yeah, and going to the point about campaign system, the games that I like to be involved in are rooted in history. I get quite inspired by historical things, but I'm not dogmatic about history, and I'm sure no one can see where I live, can they? Just in case they come and set fire to my house. I wouldn't rip up the history books and do something bonkers about it. But the game first for me. It's about creating a really fun game that plays really well, then set in the historical setting. So that's more important for me. So, when we're doing a campaign, it's more about I'm more interested in I'm not interested in a historical personal figure that is in a game and how they advance through history. I'm more interested in people creating their own history, set in that setting. So my Greek Lakagos, who comes in, how do we write history for him within the game of Mortal Gods? Does that make sense?
I think that's awesome. I think that's a lot of fun, and for me, someone that it's all Greek to me. It's not my big thing. That gives me freedom, and I don't feel like I'm tied down to. Am I doing this certain way? So I love that freedom.
Yeah, but also they have to be wearing the right gear and be wielding the right weapons and fight in the way that they're portrayed in history, because that's what I love about it.
Right.
But I don't want to be fighting historical reenactment. You know, because it's just not what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, and there's plenty of great games out there that do that, but that's not the point I'm coming from. So it's about creating it's setting it in that history, that background with those troop types that were there, and that, drawing that from history, but then it's writing your own history through playing the game.
I think it's like it's almost like the unwritten history. So it's all the stuff that would have been, if you were in that little skirmish, that would have been really important to you because it's life or death. But actually, your big boss back at base would have gone, oh yeah, all right, you had a skirmish. Did you win? Yeah, cool, fine. You know, that's it. But you know, for us, it's that you're kind of in it, and you're in the moment, and it's quite interesting that say a lot of the. Because a lot of it would have been oral or not written down in those days, a lot of the little skirmishes and stuff are gone. But now, if you go to a really good bookshop, there's a plethora of good books on modern conflicts from different troops' point of view, and you get loads of different angles on it and loads of different stuff. And we never had that from the ancient world. You know, you just got the big stuff really, or the politically motivated stuff. You never got or very rarely got from the soldier's point of view. So, you know, we're almost. It's almost like you're filling in those little bits of history. That's how it feels for me when I play. I want my little Cargos, who's never going to go down in history, but he's going to be, he's going to be in my heart.
Today he will.
Especially if you're rolling the dice, Mark.
Especially if I'm rolling, yes. Especially if I'm rolling the dice, yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, I think that's fair, isn't it? And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we don't do any historical research and we don't read historical books. You know, you ask my wife how many books I've got, she'll just be moaning about it. You know, if I get into a pit like at the moment, I'm looking at obviously with the Barons' War and stuff, but I've now gone even further over the sea, as they say, into the east, and I've had a pile of books turn up this week just on the Crusades and Outremer, you know, and the Crusade estates over there, you know. So I sit and read it all as much as I can, but I'm no historian, and I've not got a degree in history, and I'm happy to listen to anybody who wants to feed in and has ideas, etc. You know, and who knows more than I do, and there's plenty of people out there who do.
I'm sure. But you know, for me, it was really neat. Mark mentioned Trish.
Yeah.
I started 2nd edition fantasy and Warhammer, and I grew up with those miniatures. So to be in the age now and to be in the position of producing that here in the U.S., that is really cool. That's a cool lineage. That's really neat. So that's my personal thing. So it's great. It's great to be working with Trish. You know, same thing. Same for me. I mean, I started with Warhammer 2nd edition as well after D&D and stuff. I had so many miniatures from role playing. I needed something to do with them, and you know, I've said it before, so I won't go on about it. But when I started working at Games Workshop, actually meeting the people, you know, like Jez Goodwin and Rick and all of those people, they were like my rock stars, right?
Yeah.
You know, so and being able to have worked with them and learned from them, and you know, had a beer with some of them and all of that stuff, it you know, it's a real good feeling, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think we've done really well with touching upon Mythic, Mortal Gods. A lot of the other questions were about what other factions are we going to make?
Is that for the non-mythic stuff?
The non-mythic. Well, are we done with talking about Mythic? Because where are we going to stop with Mythic as far as races?
Well, Trish has got a long list of monsters that I would love her to sculpt, but she keeps saying to me she's only got one pair of hands.
Right.
So we saw the first Cerberus the other day, which just looks awesome. And there's more monsters to come. So she'll be working on those. And when there's enough stuff, then we'll look at what we want to do with it. At the same time, I've got Matt Bickley working on some of the Greek heroes. So we were. I think it's fair to say on the Mythic release we were hero light. Stavros.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Stavros, who did a great job of working with Trish, did us a big Jason figure that everybody seems to love, which is awesome. And he did some chunky looking Argonauts as well that definitely look like the lads that will do the business. And he did some satyrs and bits and pieces for us as well. He did a really good job of filling in the range, and it all sits alongside each other very, very nicely.
And fits with the Mortal Gods range as well.
Yes,
having Stavros involved was brilliant, because he was the bridge.
Yeah.
He was the bridge between the two settings. Because of he sculpts so much for the original Mortal Gods as well.
Yeah,
so,
and it's prolific. It's like he sculpts really, really fast, and does you look at the detail on this stuff, it's really good. So with that as well, that was awesome. But I wanted Matt to do some bits for us as well on some of the characters, and he's done. And he's kind of working on, it's rough to say probably a couple of months for us over the next few months. So we'll see. The first sculpts I've seen of him again are just absolutely lovely. So
I think the idea, Mark, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that Footsore will go through the hero deck, and if they're well received, they will go through and try and do 2 a month until all of the heroes are covered.
All the heroes are done. Yeah. So yes, that's exactly what we're trying to do. Very succinctly put, much better than I would have put it.
I better have enough molds here.
I'm going to keep you busy, Tim.
Busy.
Yeah. So then what were we talking, where did we go from that? Factions we were talking about, weren't we?
Right.
Well, obviously I've been talking to Fatis a lot about factions, and obviously he's only really interested in Athenians, but he's working on a lot of other stuff as well, and so there's a lot more just bubbling under that we're working on, and we're also working on Etruscans with Agema as well. So we're working, we're big on being cooperative with other companies and stuff and other people that we know. So definitely Etruscans are on the horizon. There's some lovely stuff again, sculpted by Stavros. I mean, his Etruscan range, I think it's going to be, when that hits, is going to be absolutely lovely, and so that'll be good. And then we've got all of the classic stuff as well, We've got Mediterranean pirates and stuff come in, and the other city-states, all the ones that people keep asking us for. It's all there, It's all bubbling under. There's just only poor old Fatis, he's only got those skeleton fingers that he can work with. So
I also think
just much.
Well, we got Thracian. We want to do. We've just done Thracians, but we also want to do Thebans and Thespians. So that whole Boeotian League needs to be covered. And by doing that and creating an umbrella for them all to sit under, we'll go back and look at the Dalian League. And start to group them in leagues. I think that's the easiest way to do it. So there'll be, umbrellas that the 3 major powerhouses that they'll sit under, then the Persians, and then we'll bring the Etruscans in as well. I'd like to finish the Greeks that we have. We haven't done yet. It's wrong that we haven't got Thebans yet. Thebans and Thespians. Thespians were the other half at Thermopylae, so they need to be done. So that and they're being play tested. We have army lists already, so we're just play testing them to make sure they're okay. So I think the Thebans with the Sacred Band and all of that, and the Thespians and will be the next set. That Boeotian League will be the next set of cards to come. But also what we're doing as well is we've released some characters that we haven't done cards for, like Fatis. We haven't got a card for Fatis, so we've got a model. We can't use them in the game. And we've done Cavalry, so there is a card for Cavalry. We've just not printed it yet, for Greek Cavalry. So we'll go and collect all of these cards that will work across with it for anybody. That I think that will be the next deck that we will do, and it will have a load of heroes in that you can take. It'll have and some mercenary cards, so anybody can use them, or it will buff out the orange cards, which are the mercenary cards. So that will, if you've just got the main deck, the main set with all of those, that will add more, and it'll have more gifts, and it will have a number of. It'll be like a. I hate to use this because it's not a collectible card game, but it'll be like a booster deck to the game, which will appeal to everybody. That's the plan. But finish off what we have, and then we can go off and Celts found their way down into the region. There's lots of different stuff we can do. So and this is all on a plan, and we have it all there. It's just which order are we going to do it in? And a lot of this has already been play tested.
Yeah, I mean, there is just it's such a rich topic, But hopefully we'll get to it all eventually. But where do you go next? So
also this is the thing. Footsore is a small company trying to do lots of things. So we're limited on time, and obviously we're limited on resources. We have to use our resources well.
Obviously.
If I knew, and I'm not suggesting this for 1 minute before people turn up at my house with pitchforks and stuff. I'm not suggesting we're going to do this in the slightest, but if I knew we could take this to something like Kickstarter, and we'll say, right, if we hit all of these levels, we will release it all at once. Etruscans, Thespians, Thebans, etc., 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 etc. Then I would do it.
Right. Well,
it's having the funding to do it. Really, that's the key.
That and the focus, because then if we did take it to Kickstarter, this is what we are doing.
Yes.
Here. You mentioned it's us. Other than the couple other people behind us that work for us, it's just us. So
and don't worry, guys. We're not short of ideas.
Oh no, no, not short of ideas. And without the community, without you guys, we wouldn't continue to do what we're doing. To provide really, really cool toys and awesome rules and great games. Yeah. That's why we're doing all of this.
Yeah, totally.
That's what I tell myself every day.
Totally. And I say this a lot. We're making games that we like to play.
Yeah.
So, and that's really important for me.
Yeah.
So, I just jumping over to someone. Tonius Duluck says new minis for Thebans. Yes, when we do them, definitely we'll do some heroes and stuff. There'll definitely be new minis.
And Johnny Grogan was asking about Tabletop Simulator.
Can we put it in there? That would mean creating the skins and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
If someone wants to do it, I just don't have the skill.
Yeah. Nor do we have the headspace for something like that right now.
No, but it's got I think there's two not two, but I know why people are asking, because we're playing remotely at the moment, and it's probably going to go on for some time. So I can see why people want to go onto Tabletop Sim. So I can see that. I think the other way to deal with it is to do solo play rules as well.
Right.
So we could do a bit of both.
Yeah. I would like to do the solo first, work on the AI of it. Real quick, we going back to the cards, you mentioned Cavalry. There was a question about chariots.
Yeah. What's the question?
Will there be? Are there?
Are we going to make one, or are we going to include any?
Are we going to make one?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
we've got a Persian chariot in the deck. We just haven't made it yet.
Yes.
So that's a definite yet. And then obviously when you talk chariots, that just beautifully leads into Troy. And obviously,
See what I did there?
That was a beautiful lead in, Tim. Thank you. The next thing after Mythic that we were asked for was Troy. So we're obviously working on that as well. So there's
I think it's fair to say. Sorry, Mark, I've just jumped in all over you
again.
I think it's fair to say that there's a big chunk of Troy written.
There is. Yeah, and we've got some quite exciting projects on Troy as well. So, so obviously, yes, chariots. In answer to the question.
Yeah, if it's on a card, we've released it on a card. We totally intend to do the miniatures.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the rule for me.
Right.
It's like with the Egyptian Marines as well. I'd love to do the Egyptian Marines. They're really characterful, and I'd love to go back and do loads more for the Persians. They had Indian troops. I'd love to sneak an elephant in as well. All of that stuff. So it will come. It will definitely come. We've got rules for elephants already.
How do you sneak an elephant in the room?
In a bag.
One piece at a time.
At a time.
That's right. That's how you do it. Yeah. Well, let's see. The person who did the Kushite miniatures, will he do more work for Footsore in the future?
Yes, is the answer. He's working on a project at the moment, a fantasy project, and he's doing some absolutely amazing stuff. After he did the Kushites, which I was blown away by, I did say, will you do some more stuff for us? And the answer was yes, I just haven't got time right now. So, I'd love, he would be my perfect choice for the Persian Marines and stuff like that to get those done. So we're just in a holding pattern with him. And as soon as I get the ping, I've got time, we'll be in. So, yes, because I thought the Kushites were brilliant. And this is when you talk to... when you work with a figure designer who's got years and years of experience, you can get them. When they understand the process, you can see what they do with the figures. I look at the figures and I go, I love it when I get a figure that I give to my mold maker, who's brilliant. He's very skilled, very professional, been doing it for years, does a fantastic job, and I give him a miniature, and he goes. And then he still makes it, and the figure designer is so good that we can still cast it, and it works as a production mold. So when I'm because again we're only little, when I'm standing there over the casting machine producing it, and I open that mold, I want to see a perfect casting, okay? Because obviously it's not my fault if it doesn't work,
right?
I want to see a perfect casting, and with the Kushites, they got bits of fur and stuff coming off of me in what looks like all different directions and that, but they cast beautifully, so that's what you want. Yeah, I could if people want to buy tons of Kushites, I can cast tons of Kushites. It's brilliant. And so the more stuff we do with him, the better. And, as soon as he's available, he's in demand because he's good, obviously. So, the more, but yes, I'd love him to do the Egyptian Marines next, and then lots more stuff with us. But we'll just have to see what he's got in his availability. But yes,
I'd like to do some more Kushites as well.
I'd like to do some more Kushites. Yeah. I saw some large scale models of some Kushites that somebody else had done. I can't remember the sculptor's name, but they were really good. And he'd done some with hyenas. I'd quite like us to do some hyenas.
Cool, that would be neat. And also I've seen a lot of guys talk about using Kushites for pulp gaming.
Yeah, just some more warriors would be cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah,
it's funny. I don't know. I had the lion here, right here.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
lovely.
You can't show not painted miniatures, Tim. That's the rule.
This is painted. They're painted as metal.
Not shading and highlighting, just saying.
I actually trump you on this, Tim. You see in my light box behind me, this shoulder, that's the actual Cushites that we photographed.
Oh, I see. I see.
So I win.
You do win.
Andy wins. The only thing he doesn't win on is asking the question, did you paint them yourself?
Oh, harsh, but fair, yeah.
Okay. Well,
what else we got?
We've got, it looks like we've pretty much answered the Mortal Gods questions. A lot of the other questions are related to Barons War.
Okay, let me just jump in. So a chap called Aaron Smith has just asked, just bought from you for the first time a month or so. Thanks, Aaron, that's great. Painting up Vikings, lovely models. Any plans for Viking command groups? But well done on the models, though.
So, well, funny you should talk about Vikings, because we said we're only a small company and we can only do so much. We do seem to be doing a lot, and so I've been talking with a particular sculptor about doing a range of Vikings, because I want to do a range that will just be, just be the best Vikings ever. And we got such a really good response from the late Saxons that we've done, that of the obvious choice is Matt Bickley. So I'm chatting with him at the moment, and we're going to do some Vikings, and we want them to be characterful and have almost like a bit of history in the actual model, so that you can go, where's that Viking been, and you'll be able to have a look at him and go, if you know your stuff, if you know your armor and you know your history and you know regional variations and you know a bit about where the Vikings traveled and all that kind of stuff, you'll go, oh, that's from such and such. Oh yeah, he's been there, so we want to do that kind of range. So that's happening at the moment. There is actually, though, in the existing range, some Viking command groups, and there's quite a nice couple of bits and pieces in there, and they're sculpted by Bill. And it was one of the last ranges he did for us, and is not that Bill's out of the picture, by the way, just in case anybody thinks anything horrible's happened to him.
It sounds very fatal.
But he did a really good range of Vikings and some nice, I like the range of characters we got for that. There's obviously the Viking nutters, and there's 4 of those, and they're all very individual and they're lovely. And then just a little kind of the individual characters like Eric Oaksplitter and all of these guys. They're just nice, and any of those with the standard bearer and stuff make great command groups. So I love those. I mean, I'm really sad because I'm a big fan of Warhammer Ancient Battles, and it's a good game. I love that game, but I'm showing the age is what I meant. And I have a couple of 1,000 points of Vikings. And when Bill started these, I love these. They paint really easily. They get together in regiments really easy. They're just lovely. So that my Viking army, which was quite a bit plastic, has suddenly gone to quite a bit metal with that range. I'm still keep going back to painting bits and pieces of them. So it's a nice range. But I think that
also you can never have too many Vikings.
Of course you can't have too many Vikings. It's like tiger tanks. If you're into World War II, you can't have too many.
And also there's some plan to why we're doing it. I mean, obviously you touched on Barons War, and I'm circling us back, Tim. Don't worry. Mark mentioned the Anglo-Saxons, so we got Matt to make us some Anglo-Saxon. Started with the Hearthguard, and it's now become a range of 30 miniatures just from him. So we haven't even shown them all yet. So we're looking hopefully to release these next month. So we'll have and they'll sit on top of the late Saxons we've already got. So, but the reason for that is for the Barons' Wars rules, because the idea is they will cover Dark Ages all the way up through medieval. So we wanted to bulk out the ranges that we've already got, like the Anglo-Saxons, late Saxons, and the Vikings. So a lot of the miniatures that we will add, we're adding them as well for a reason, in anticipation and preparation for these rules coming.
I tell you, it's the funniest thing. I mean, I'm privy to these conversations, but just listening to you, like, oh my God, this is just pure awesome.
Yeah.
It's just very exciting. And also, the 30 miniature range, the goal is to have it released both UK and the US at the same time.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we want to be doing more of that.
Yes. That's
what we need to be moving towards, definitely.
And I think Andy might have been a little bit optimistic on his release schedule there, just saying.
Well, I may be just talking about myself, because I had these Saxons made for me.
Yes.
to be my army.
That's right.
So, in the game. So that's part of it as well. So, there we go.
Speaking of Saxons, when I first started casting here and looking at the late Saxons and the early Saxons that built it, they're one of my favorite groups of figures. I really like them. I think they're really good.
Yeah, me too. I mean, they fast become my favorite Dark Age army at the moment, and all the background and history around the Saxons. I've read. So you going back to that reading thing? I've read quite a lot recently on the Saxon armies and the Heptarchy and how they shaped the British Isles as they came through until the bloody Normans came and ruled it all. So it's a real interesting period, and especially when you think around 1066, it could have all been very different if Harold had just backed off and regrouped. We'd still be
stuck under the bridge.
Yeah.
What?
So it's great to be able to do these models. I really
very exciting.
Really like it. Yeah. And also this is, again, with 1066. When my kids are at an age where they've just done 1066 at school in history and stuff, and it ends there. It's like, oh yeah, the Normans came over. William conquered and became William the Conqueror, and he was crowned. In December, and then we were all Normans.
And then
there's nothing about the 10 years of bloodshed afterwards. Where he had to actually conquest the UK. And I keep thinking, what a great setting for games. All of that stuff, where the Anglo-Saxons are fighting guerrilla warfare and perfect for skirmishing. When you went up to the north and you just flattened the entire north, William.
Devastated it, yeah.
Yeah, devastated. What fantastic. He had to actually fight to take the country. And he didn't really want to be there, because he kept popping back to France and he had to come over and put down uprisings and that kind of stuff. So I found that really interesting, all of that stuff.
For me, who I didn't know much about history either, that one book, the Wargamers Compendium or Guide to 1066, I think that's the title of the book. I think that's what it is. That's really damn good. It's good. It gives a great history. That was, for me, more of the dummy's guide to it, and it got me interested. And I know people have asked for reading lists, so it would be
you need deep wallets.
I'm quite happy to. I'm quite happy to do that. And I pulled a reading list together for the Barons' Wall.
Right.
So I will make that available, and it's stuff that I read, and it set the period for me, and it's what I liked. So hopefully, and I'm not, again, it's not this is the historical de facto reading list. This is all about setting the scene and etc. And there is some historical books in there as well, but it should set the tone and add color.
Okay, what are the next
Barons Wars, someone said. Barons Wars.
Yeah,
Barons Wars. We talked about ages ago, didn't we? Or mentioned it ages ago.
If you're late to the party on the Barons War, it was the first range of miniatures that Mark and I wanted to do for Futsal Miniatures when we, took over nearly 4 years ago. And we even started by getting some of the, with Paul Hicks, who's an old friend of mine. He actually sculpted a couple of command groups for us and some knights, and William Marshall, of course, because he is my absolute hero. So we had those, and we sat on them with the whole idea that we would release the Barons War range, and then Gangs of Rome came, and then Mortal Gods came, and and all of these other bits and pieces came along, and they just sat there. And then Mark and I had a conversation last year, and I said, look, I really want to release the Barons War, and Mark was like, I don't think we can. We've got so many other things that we're doing. I don't think it's going to happen this year. So obviously I stuck my bottom lip out and took my ball home. and I said, right, I'll do it myself then. Flipped up the table and walked off. So that's how it came about. So this is why I went to Kickstarter. It was totally independent of Futsal as a project. I spoke to Paul. I said, look, Paul, I've got this great idea, and I'm not going to pay you anything.
That always works. Trust me.
Always works. And I think because we're friends, he listened to my madness, and I said, yeah, you sculpt them all, and I'll tell people all about them, and hopefully, people will want to back us because they'll like Knights as much as we do, and luckily they did, and that's how the first Barons War Kickstarter happened. So because it was successful and people showed us a desire that they was interested as I am and Paul is, and I'm not saying Mark isn't, because he is, and yourself, Tim, that people would really wanted that. It was a good way to indicate that people were really interested in a range of those miniatures. It lit a fire under me to start finishing the rules and doing the second Kickstarter, which we've just done, really to create the range again, and having Futsal involved as in logistically, so they can make the molds for us, they can cast them all, pack them all, and send them all out, has been a real help. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a customer of theirs. We've had to pay for the privilege of it, but it's worked. It's allowed us to do it. So with that, it like I say, it got us all very excited. So it got us to do the rules. So the initial idea with the rules was to do a set of rules that would follow on from Mortal Gods, and it would be that kind of game. So we started with heroes and small groups of warriors, and it started to play like that. And we played a couple of games, and it just didn't feel right.
Because you lost.
Yeah, and because I lost, yeah.
That's just
to me.
Yeah.
So if anybody, save it for another time. But if you want to know my process behind writing rules, I just change them until I win, and that's what we do.
Sounds like a high elf player to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we started playing Mortal Barons Wars kind of thing, and it just didn't work in the same way. It's because the armor is more important. The troop types become more particular in what they do. There's more cavalry. If you take the Mortal Gods rules and you put 6 or 7 cavalry on the table in one group, you can't use the same rule system. It has to change. So we played it for a bit, and then we moved on and just started to change. And it's gone to a game where it still uses actions, but it hasn't got the blind draw. So you've got true control. You still alternate with your opponent, but you can truly now command, and use a number of different actions you can choose to do. And you play those, and everybody gets to act. unless you choose not to. There is a pass, so you know each round both sides are going to act and use all their actions. So that happens. Your groups that you choose now, there's two types of groups. You start, and I put a poll up the other day about units and groups, but at the moment they're called groups. So you would build a group of spearmen, and you could have 1 to 100 guys in there if you want. It's totally up to you how many people you put in it, but you have to pay the points. So hopefully the points will balance the game. So you pay for a spearman, you pay for what armor you want him or her to have, which weapon, obviously a spear or a bill, if you want to have a shield or not, and you build your man, and then you go, right, I want 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in that group, and that becomes a group after that. So your whole retinue is built up of a number of these groups. So they could be mounted sergeants, they could be knights, they could be knight errants, they could be squires, they could be sergeants on foot, they could be bowmen, they could be crossbowmen, they could be whatever is on the list for your faction that you're choosing. And at the moment, we haven't narrowed it down to saying you can only have these because you're French, or you can only have these because you're from the Warren family, or you're whatever. At the moment, you can pick. We've made it so you can pick all the models that we've done. So build your groups, and then you can start to create command groups after that. And you can have as many command groups up to 50% of your points. And what you do is, by adding a commander level in there, it could be a sergeant, it could be a knight in there, it could be a veteran, or into that group, it suddenly becomes a command group. And then from there, bringing that commander in starts to give you other options. You can put a bannerman in, you can put a priest in, you can put a musician in, you can put a healer in. If you've got a unit of archers, you could put a Fletcher in, you could, etc., etc., etc. And by adding these types in there, it starts to give your group other abilities and other things they can do. And so it gives you a lot of flexibility on building your force. So you can add. The good thing is as well, you could paint up 5 spearmen, play some games, then paint 2 more and make it a unit 7 spearmen if you want. So yeah, it's to give you total flexibility, because the reasoning behind it is historically the baron or the landowner, baron means landowner, but the lord or the knight, he would just bring what he can muster.
Who's left?
Who's left? Yeah. So you might, in this instance, oh God, so and so's invading me. I don't know who I've got. These guys have gone off on a crusade. These guys are over here. Oh, I can only muster these guys in. So these are the guys I'll be playing with.
Dad's army for Baron's War.
Dad's army for Baron's War. Yeah. But also, I'm
going to Kickstarter for that one.
Yeah. But also, but then each of those types. So you got spearmen, and because the types of warrior are very clearly defined in that period, we've also given classes, like their training class. So there's veterans, there's regulars, there's irregulars, is it green we're using, Mark?
I think it's green at the moment.
Green. I want to use raw, but Mark doesn't like raw. So and they can do more, and they've got different bits, like experienced and regular spearmen have been drilled. So they have the ability to brace. So when you're charged by knights, they can react. They can use these actions and reactions. They can react and brace if they pass a morale check. So because what we've done with cavalry is, as cavalry come charging in, if they go in and they hit a unit and they win, your unit breaks, and then they go riding over. So there's like an overcharge into if there's another unit behind, they'll go into them as well, and they'll fight some combat there as well. What happens at that point is, we've simulated the knights getting carried away, and then they're stuck, so they then have to rein in. So they've gone trying to stop it. So they all stop it there, and if they pass a morale check, they can activate in their turn. If they can't, they have to spend a turn trying to rein their mounts in. So by having spearmen with brace as the the knights come in, they stop that overrun. And normally when knights charge you, there's not much left unless you're quite armored or whatever. or your spearmen will get to fight back. So if you've lost the charge, so you're receiving as spearmen, you'll still get all your spearmen to fight back, and they stop the charge. So that's pretty cool. So this stuff like that to add character.
Cool. I mean, it's worth saying that because it's Barons Wars, we wanted the knights to be really characterful, and we wanted that they are really effective given the right situation. They're trained better than anybody else. They've been brought up to fight. They have the best gear and equipment. They've got they're just trained for warfare, and unless you're sergeants or somebody like that or mercenaries, you probably haven't got. You're just not in the same class. But the interesting thing is, if you read the history, the knights are a rule unto themselves. They just don't, and they'll get the charge in, and then they're gone. The same as cavalry through most of the ages. They're a law unto themselves, and they do a fantastic job. They charge, they crush everything in their path. Unless obviously you get up to Scotland and then you come up against Children's, but they learned. But they in this period they just keep going, and so we wanted to represent that, and we wanted to invest a lot of points in these guys, but they are a hard hitting force, but have to be used quite well to be effective. So I mean, we've been playing a few games with them now, and obviously, if you've played our games before, we don't like massive boards, and it's not 6x4, and there's not lots of manoeuvring. It's let's get in there and do it. And the knights are hugely effective, as they would be in this period. I mean, if you read about the Barons Wars and some of the knights' charges and stuff, that's it. They completely crush a flank, and then they ride off, and then they come back for dinner later. Maybe a couple of days later. So it's that to get that feel, and then you've got to try and get a force that balances out against it. And so they're really fun to use. But
it's also recognised tactics work as well. So if you stop those knights as they come in with your spears, and they obviously have to spend an action to rein in to be able to activate again. If you've got crossbows nearby, you shoot your crossbows, shoot them, they'll make a mess of them.
Yeah.
If they've stopped them. So, there is those recognised tactics. So it's definitely getting that feel right.
Yeah.
I mean, other things, you can add abilities to your some particular types of warriors and named units or named groups will come with fixed abilities because to recognize who they are. Some, like for instance, knights they have chivalry, so they can charge anybody who isn't the closest if there's other knights there. They live by the sword they have as well, so they get extra fighting non-knights, that kind of thing, to show that they're trained. There's loads of abilities, and you can they come with some, and you can pick some as well to individualize your groups. So you can do that too. So that works.
Is this coming out as part of the Kickstarter, or is this in addition, in a separate?
This is all in the alpha rules. So what the alpha rules will be are a playable set of rules with army lists for all the miniatures that we release for the Barons War. Plus, we'll include Vikings, Saxons, and Normans in there as well, because why wouldn't we? We've been play testing it with them, and I'm sure people would like to do that. And then what we'll do is we will send the alpha out, and we'll open a forum for people. And when I say forum, I mean a forum. As in a that people can play those rules and feedback, and give us what they like. There might be particular forces that we haven't done that they would like to see, and we can create those and we'll make them available. Talking to George Asling the other day, we hadn't even thought about it, and then we went on about Irish, and then we got all excited about it and created an Irish list, yeah, which was really cool. Both Dark Age and medieval. So we start with the range that we have in Dark Age, but then we started adding Galaglass and all that kind of cool stuff. So you could take your Dark Age Irish all the way through, and then they get to a certain time bit where you can start adding the Galaglass in. You can add Irish Knights, so your command groups would have armor and all of the weapon, but the rest of your guys will still very much look like Dark Age troops. So there's so much scope for it. So we're gonna be open and share loads of stuff for free on it is the plan, because the alpha will come out and we'll support that in a forum. And I might be at home and write up 50 abilities one night, and I'll just put them out on the website so people can go and download them and play them. That's how we're feeling about it at the moment.
And that's good, especially from the situation that we're in with most of us being home. It's good to see that Footsore, we're supporting the community by providing content and
and it's really interesting as well, because people have asked me, why are you doing, another set of rules, Dark Age rules, is Saga and all of these other games out there. And I played them all, I like them all. But what I've done is I'm nearly finished writing a game that I want to play.
Right.
And this is the game that we'll be playing, and we'll be playing it weekly, and we'll be writing more stuff for it weekly, and we'll be sharing it weekly. So
we have been playing it weekly. So and it's an evolving process. It's like we talked about before. We don't put rules out that we haven't played to death.
No, and I'm not, and I'm I got to stress as well. I don't think that what we release is the be all or end all or whatever. If people think of something and feedback in a constructive way, because I have feelings in a constructive way about something, and it's a real positive, why wouldn't we change it?
Right.
Because what we're doing is we're creating a game for people to play, and we're creating a community around that game. It's not obviously it's a game that I want to play because that's what I'm writing, but when we hand it over, it becomes a community game, and if people are investing their time and their money in the miniatures and choosing to play our game, then we should listen to them and support them. It becomes our game, doesn't it? It's not just my game; it becomes everybody's game, and that's very much our philosophy. So
Okay, so you've done Baron's War 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Crusades.
Yeah.
What are we doing with that?
Obviously, we have to be ahead of the curve in what we're doing and researching. And at the moment, my current interest is the Crusader states of Outremer. So I'm in the stages of reading lots about it.
Cool. Well,
maybe might have done something already, but that we'll have to wait and see.
That's what I would like to get a reading list on. That would be good.
Yeah, totally. There's two things about this. When we talk about the crusading forces and all of that, everybody thinks about the Christian forces and the knights, and they look cool, because obviously they change. They if you think in the first Crusades, they went and they were look very much like Normans.
Mm-hmm.
So you could take it because it's 1098, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. So they very much look like Norman troops, and from England it was William the Conqueror's son who led, Rufus, I think. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Who led the English, wing of it when the Pope called crusade. So when you look at the figures, you could take all of our Norman figures and paint them up as Crusaders.
Definitely.
And we'd only have to add a few in, and then we've got our Arab range as well, which has just come back. So we have both sides of it, which is really cool. However, I would love to do a really, really lovely Arab range, Caliphate range. You know, we need to do Saladin. We need to do some Arabian Nights. You know, because both forces that were involved in all of the conflict over there for the 1098 till about late 1200s, I think, was the fall of Acre, and you know, when it ended, you know, there's some really, really interesting stuff going on there in troop types. And also, I read, you know, I can tell I'm reading about it in a moment. The crusading forces, they all think they're the white Europeans. They weren't. They had loads of local troops fighting, you know, local Christian troops fighting on the side of the Crusaders, and it was about land as well. They may have raised the forces from like some religious ideal, but it was just they just took what was going on in the Barons' War and in Europe, lifted it up and put it over here, right. And it was a massive land grab.
This work
over there.
Let's try it over here.
Yes, try it over here. Yeah. So they created a kingdom, you know, the kingdom of Jerusalem. They created their principalities. They created dukedom. So they created what they had over here in their own image over here. And when the Crusades went, they all went, and it was really expensive for them to go. When they went over and they did all their crusading thing, loads of them said, right, tick the box. I've taken the cross. You know, the Pope will be happy with me. I can now go back and protect my land over here because I've got loads of interest over here. I'm really interested in what happened then.
Yeah.
You know, in the kingdoms and the principalities of Outremer, the characters over here, you know, because it's this, but it's not. It's this, and then you've got all this other stuff that's happening over here as well. It's really colourful.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Okay, well that's good. That's very exciting. I'm glad that we're talking about it. So, because people keep asking, I see people.
It will happen. The idea with the Barons, it's called. Well, the other thing is, and you've heard it here first, guys. Yeah, we're calling it the Barons' War because that's the range that we're focused on at the moment because of the range. The rules won't be called the Barons' War. You know, so the Alpha will be the Barons' War because it's the Barons' War rules. But the whole rule set that we've created will do 1067, for instance, because we're talking about 1066, 1067. They'll do, you know, Outremer over the sea. They'll do, you know, the Heptarchy Saxons or whatever. And what and all these rules will work for all of those. All you'll have to do is change what sits on top. That's the plan. That's what that is the plan, and it's not a plan. It's a reality. That's what we've done.
That's what we've actioned. Yeah.
Very exciting. Wow, we've gone over an hour. Our goal was to.
Well, we haven't even talked about moderns.
No, we haven't.
And we should.
So, a couple things. I mean, I'm asked daily, and I see in the modern group, as well as Footsore hobby group, when is Footsore? When are the modern range going to hit the Footsore store?
So the only thing that's slowing us down at the moment is we've had all of the models from you, Tim. So that those are done. The molds are made. There's even production castings on in the casting room. So you know, from that side of it, we're done. But it's a lovely range, and obviously we want to do it proper justice. So Jez is at the moment painting the miniatures so that we can show them off, and so. In very shortly, I'd have thought within another couple of weeks we'll have some lovely images that really show off the quality of the miniatures. And then when those are done, and then we get our IT guru to put them up on the system, we can go live with them. So we just want to. It would be a shame. Having put all the time and the effort and the work into them, to just put them out as say grey images or something like that, and not show off the quality of them. So we're gonna we'll wait till we've got some of it all painted, because we're not release all of it straight away, but we'll release a wodge of it straight away, and then we can follow it up with some other stuff later. And so we are literally just waiting for.
I think it's fair to say, Mark, isn't it? In that it's a really important release for Futsal UK.
Yeah, it's a big change.
So it needs to be done properly.
Yeah,
and with the respect it deserves.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We didn't just want to dribble out, a few here and a few. Oh, I just stood on my dog's nose. We didn't want to just dribble out a bit here and a bit there. It needed to come out properly. So we want to do a proper release of it.
Yeah, absolutely we do. And Tim's put a lot of time and effort into making a really accurate range of moderns. I mean, for us it's different. I mean, me, swords and shields any day of the week. Moderns isn't really my bag, although I've read some really interesting books about the British forces in Afghanistan and stuff like that. Some fascinating stuff. But I can tell you the difference between a Glock and an M16. But once it gets any more complicated than that, I'm not your man. Tim's your man. He knows it all. And so this range that is brought to us is very contemporary, very accurate, brilliant, and we wanted to make sure that we do it justice. So we want to get it. Like I say, we want to get it right.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that. And it's funny because prior to coming to Footsore, it was just me. Glenn Kepheim was there to help me, but man, it was just pushing out ranges left and right. And but now it's been good that I've been tempered a little, to show that this is the proper way. This is good. So I'm very excited. And that logo down below, the new logo.
Really pleased.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I want to see that on a T-shirt.
It's a serious range. It needs a serious logo.
Yep.
I same as Mark. It's not a period that I'm not saying I'm not interested in it, because I am, but it's not something that I play. But bringing this range out in the UK, we needed to go and learn about it and do our homework. And it's got some serious interest, and there's some serious players of the modern era. So, we need to respect them and do it properly.
I do see a question from Evan Lapka. He says, time travel rules coming are modern Baron Wars. Meaning, we've been asked a lot about modern rules. And do
you want to answer, Tim?
I mean, I keep saying yes, we're working on them.
and Tim, that is true. We are.
That is true.
And I think we'll get to the point where we'll have something workable that we're happy with. But it's like all of these things. A shooting conflict is different to a medieval conflict, is different to an ancient conflict, and if we want to get the feel and the character right, then there's some work to do there. Yeah, I mean, people have gone before, and there's some good rules out there, but we'll want to give it that futsal flavour. I think that's fair to say, and I want to play it and enjoy it, because I will sit there with with my tiniest brushes and sort out the camera patterns and paint myself up a couple of squads. I remember many years ago painting some World War World 20mm Germans and shaving down a little cocktail stick to a fine point so I could put the P pattern on. So I am that sad. So I'm looking forward to have a couple of squads and playing some really exciting firefights and stuff. That's
yes, and agreed. And for me, it's more the other side of the modern bit. That bleeding edge. Not so much sci-fi, but near sci-fi, which kind of gets me excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a massive mech fan, but not a. I appreciate all the Japanese Gundam mechs and stuff, but I kind of like a more nasty looking machine is what I kind of like the idea of. So I've already written rules for a mech game, which I wrote a long time ago, which we've had to not do anything with. And again, it was just something that I wanted to do to play with, but it's that may see the light of day one day. You know,
we're going to need bigger buildings.
Yes, yeah, we'll see.
More stuff.
Yeah, Zard W. Sebastian has gone cough, late Saxon, new sculpts cough. Yes, we've already talked about them.
there are more on the way, just they're not coming out on Andy's timeline.
There'll be about 30, and I'm all in all for the new Saxons and Footsore. Again, they're going off to be painted. That's the thing for them. We want to have them all painted up.
Yeah.
For release.
I see Fatis has jumped in as well. We do have a Mortal Gods logo, Fatis. You may not know. We do actually have a logo for that.
Well, yeah. I think we've covered the initial questions that we got before, and we've covered a lot of the questions from here. I don't have anything else. Do you guys have else?
The only thing we haven't mentioned is Gangs of Rome. Really?
Yeah, it's funny. I just received an email from a person in the U.S. wanting Gangs of Rome here.
Right. That is having that was to you, Mark, by the way, I think. But I'm buying you some time, mate. I'm buying you some time.
Run.
So everything's because we're a little team. Everything is cyclical. We just can't focus on everything all of the time. Now, we did a lot of focus on Gangs of Rome when we started, and we had brilliant support as well from Sarissa. We did this just vast range of scenery. We kind of went to them and went, "Have you got a couple of Roman buildings?" Here's a catalogue of 50. We were like, oh. So we had a really good start with Gangs of Rome, and actually Gangs of Rome, the initial concept is from one of our members of staff, Daz, who's just if he knows everything there is to know about Rome, he's I'm sure if we chop his head off, it'll be like a stick of rock and it'll say Rome around it. And the concept was all his, and we took it and turned it into a set of rules, and we did two sets for it, and we did a nice range of miniatures, and we did all of the extra little characters and stuff for it, but we kind of then had to leave it because we're working on other stuff, because we're working on Mortal Gods, and we're working on Mythic, and there's Baron's Wars, and there's talking to sculptors and getting ranges done like the late Saxons, and just tons and tons of stuff all going on all of the time. So it took a bit of a back seat. But what we are doing right now is we're people who play Gangs of Rome will know about Rome's Most Wanted, which are like the named gangs, if you like, the ones that when you talk about the back streets of Rome and what's going on, these are the guys who've got a reputation. And we've done four other sets for those. Now, funnily enough, I was at the printers this afternoon and picking up the cards for those 4 sets. So we've got the molds made, we've got the cards made, we've got the coins and stuff done. So what we need to do now is just actually collate it all into the sets so that we can sell them. But again, there's only so many of us, and that takes time. So I've got somebody lined up to do it next week, and so hopefully by towards the end of next week, I will actually have those 4 sets pretty good to go. So those are quite exciting, and I know people are waiting for them because we put them all up. We did an offer on the sets and the 4 sets, and everybody's going, yes, please, I'll have all 4. So that's
which again has been really encouraging, right? Hasn't it? It's been really encouraging because we haven't focused anything on Gangs of Rome for a little while, and I'm sure all the people who play Gangs of Rome will be going, a lot a long time.
Yeah.
But it's shown that there's a real love for it, you know, just by how many of those sets have been ordered. So we wrote a campaign rules back in April, and the idea was we were going to release a campaign book to go with it. And again, Mortal Gods was so successful that it took
just took the wind out of our sails.
And when I say April, I mean April last year. You know, Mortal Gods just overtook the entire business, didn't it? It was far, and again, I'm not complaining. This is amazing. Far more successful than we could have ever imagined it would be on release. So everything had to focus on that. All our time and resource had to go into Mortal Gods, actually physically packing, getting it out the door, all of that kind of thing. So we parked the Gangs of Rome campaign add-on last year. We've come back to it, and it's been going full steam ahead. And what the plan will be is we're hoping to have a book written. What do you reckon? Next few months?
Yeah.
The actual manuscript will be done.
I mean, it's filling out nicely now. It's starting to.
Yeah.
It's starting to look like a proper campaign set now. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we will do is we will, you know, the rules will still be the same. We will take them and we'll put them in the front of the book for ease, so people don't have to carry two books around. And then afterwards there'll be all the campaign rules. And the idea will be is you get your dominer or your dominus, and you build your gang around you, and it has loads of linked campaigns, and there'll be gang management in between. So there'll be rules for taking territory. What if you own certain territory? What will that happen? You can challenge your friend. You know, well, you won't be a friend while you're playing. You can challenge the person for their territory. You could say, right, I'm coming after your docks. So you play a game out, and if he wins, he gets to keep his docks, and you know, and he gets something over you. Or if you win, you drive him out the docks. So there's all of that, and your gang members won't develop in that way. They won't get harder and harder. What happens is you get more choices for your gang for how you play your scenario. So you'll get extra coins. You can take different equipment. You can have access. You have a core set of gang members that you have in your family, you know, like in your house, but also you'll get access to other gangers. You know, the more known and the more notorious you get, you'll get more influence in Rome and pull more people in. So and obviously when they get injured, you'll roll on a dice and they may end up at the backstreet butcher trying to get fixed. And you know, there'll be events between games. We're going to bring in the Roman police, and it's going to take the Gangs of Rome game as it is and add so much more to it. So you know, and all of the concepts and the ideas have been created. We're just fleshing it all out now.
Awesome. There's more. More. Well, I think this was a great first episode, and I look forward to the next.
What do you mean first episode? That's it, isn't it? I only signed up for one gig.
Yeah, I can say that's it. Surely.
Right.
One every 4 years, isn't that right?
Looks like I'll be doing a lot of talking. And I thank you all for taking time to listen and be a part of it. At any time, you can always ask us questions or send us questions in the various Footsore groups that we have. I got nothing else. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Mark, anything else before we go? I think we've covered it.
Yeah, last chance. 3, 2, 1.
Yep. Okay. Well, thanks everyone.
Excellent.
Yeah, just everybody stay safe.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. Yeah.
Really important.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep.
You know.
That mask down there, that's what makes a difference.
I might get one to go shopping at the supermarket.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Yeah. I think we all should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, gentlemen.
Okay.
Must be time for a glass of wine. We'll see you all next week.
Yeah. Stay safe, everybody.
Yep. Stay safe. Bye.